tulikuja hapa tukampatia Raila Odinga kura zetu ili akatulinde sisi na uchumi wetu na ardhi zetu. Raila Odinga amekuja hapa sasa, anaomba kura zetu akamlinde Uhuru Kenyatta. Mimi namwambia Raila Odinga, vile Bob Marley alivyosema, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
Within ODM, there's people like Ojienda who are fixated with power sharing. Everything he talks about is just who will be what and who will get what.
In all fairness, Ojienda mentioned it here before even the broad-based government happened.
I understand that. I am telling you that there are those of us who are fixated on power. There are those of us who are fixated on fixing this country. And there's a distinction. And I have not said that it is not possible. But I have said in the past, you know, we need to learn from the mistakes we made in the past. One of the things that I have learned in the past, I'm beginning my 8th year as SG in February of this party. One of the things we've learned in the past is that we have a responsibility to advise our leaders. And the beauty with the party leader, Raila Odinga, is that he always falls back to his troops to advise him. And he listens to the advice. The advice that we failed to give in 2018, you are associating with a government that was extremely unpopular and that we were going to end up carrying the burden of incumbency when indeed it was not our government. This is the exact same situation that we find ourselves in. But the responsibility on the people who believe in ODM, who believe in the values of this party, is to not make the same mistake we made last time by keeping quiet and saying, oh, let us just keep quiet, this thing will work out. It did not work out. We are not going to make the same mistake. We have a responsibility to say, and I've said it here, it doesn't matter if you are not performing as an incumbent, if you are doing the things that this government is doing, it doesn't matter who supports you, you will still come up short. And I've given you the example of what we did last election. We had a coalition of 26 political parties, including a sitting president. We still came up short, Trevor, because we did not address the issues of the people. And the incumbency, the presidency, all those things that were happening, including the bodies showing up in River Yala, the state of the economy, the demolitions, all of those things, we ended up carrying that burden. And I'm telling you, for as long as I'm SG of ODM, I am sworn to give proper advice to my party leader. I cannot go to Bungoma and be told by the people who supported Ruto that they no longer see him as somebody they can support. Then I come and report the opposite. I am not helping my party leader.
Should your party insist that this is the direction we're taking, what happens?
We will cross that bridge when we get there. I can tell you for a fact, Trevor, at the end of the day, my responsibility is to put things on record so that history can record that I warned that this is something that would still hurt us as a political entity. And honestly speaking, if you look at the political dynamics in the country right now, it would be very foolish for ODM not to field up. If you look at the math,
If the people confront people with guns and handcuffs and it becomes a shootout, isn't that a jungle law?
You know, Tom Ojienda is a member of the Senate. He's, I think, a vice chair of, is it Public Investments Committee?
Yes. Also in the security
even in the Senate.
He's asking the people to take matters into their hands.
Even in the Senate, if his committee summons the governor of Kisumu, we cannot allow the deputy Owili to appear and tell us that this is the situation. He knows it.
Yeah.
So he's being clever with words. He knows for a fact that if you are someone, the IG of police is an individual. He's an individual. You can't sell us stories that, oh, in fact, that is part of the contempt. That you umedharau an institution to an extent that you are someone before Ojienda's committee, then you send your PA, your PA to go and explain. And Ojienda himself will not allow even that PA to open his mouth. So I don't know what he's talking about. Number two, Trevor, the state cannot tell us that they do not know the people doing this. The part of the social contract, when we decide to be a country, there are some of us, we all have rights to bear arms, but we cede that right to bear arms to the state so that it can take care of everyone. What these gentlemen are inviting us to is anarchy, because you cannot tell unarmed Kenyans, unarmed individuals, to confront people who are clearly armed. The result is not something that you can control. you know. But we are being pushed there as Kenyans. I am very persuaded myself that this is something that now, if the state is saying it is not them, and we know it is them, it is not coincidence, Trevor, that just a few days before the police command is supposed to appear in court, then these young people are somehow released at various locations.
They are not released by the police.
That's what I'm telling you. It is not coincidence, Mheshimiwa Tom. We live in this country. We live in this country. It was not coincidence in 2016 that a few days after the NIS director appeared in court, the bodies were found in Oldonyo Sabuk. So it is not a coincidence. We know. And for anyone to tell us that they don't know what is happening or who is doing this, it is to actually acknowledge that as a state, you are unable to protect your people. Today morning, Trevor, if you go to the police station in Tom Ojenda's rural home, there are a few chicken thieves being arraigned today. The police know, all the chiefs know every misconduct in the village, but somehow the country is being told that the police, the entire security apparatus, does not know what is happening here. For me personally, as a senator, I would actually propose that all these people be also summoned before committees of parliament. And unfortunately, if it is Ojienda who's in the security committee, I think the first thing I will do as a whip in the Senate is to reconstitute that security committee so that we can have a proper conversation. Let Douglas Kanja come there. And I have met Douglas Kanja. He's an amiable guy. There's people within the state who tell these officers that even if you go or you don't go, nothing is going to happen. We want them to appear before committees of parliament because part of parliament's role is to resolve issues of concern to the people. I don't think there is a greater issue of concern to the people of Kenya right now than the fact that you can just be picked up from the road and disappeared. So we want Douglas Kanja to appear before Senate. We want Nurdin Haji to appear. We want Mohamed Amin to appear. We want these abductees, every single person who has been a victim of abduction. These people need to tell Kenyans what is going on. All of them need to share.
But some of them are saying they've been threatened not to speak.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we have to put a stop to this, and we need to know who is doing these things and what is happening. So.